Hi, how's everyone doing? And welcome back. And before I continue, remember, like us, follow us, add some comments in below. We love hearing from you guys. So thanks for following us. Let's pick up on some more lingo today. There's lots of it. And so part deux. Deposit versus down payment. There is a correlation between the two because when you put a deposit down in an offer, that's basically that amount of money that you're saying, hey seller, I'm interested in your house. And as a good faith gesture, I'm going to give you some money ahead of time that sits in trust, so it's protected, which is the deposit, for you to grant me some time to essentially go and do my due diligence. So that could be your financing condition, your home inspection, whatever else it is. That deposit is actually a part of your down payment. So if you do go forward with the property and it does finalize, if you were to put a $10,000 deposit down on a property, and your down payment of 5% down on $500,000 was $25,000, that 10 grand does go towards the 25. So they're somewhat correlated, but they're totally different. Next up, lien, not lien, it's called a lien. Liens are things that can be registered on title towards the property. Could be your mortgage that's being registered by the bank. A lien could be if there was a massive renovation done on your house and the contractor was looking for payment, but you weren't paying them. They might go and hire a lawyer to actually put a lien on your property for the amount you owe them. If there's actually a financial obligation to someone, when you go to dispose of that property, the lawyer essentially pays out what's registered on there. Brokerage. A brokerage is an entity that an agent has to work under actually trade in real estate. Our brokerage is Grassroots Realty Group. There's other ones, you've probably heard of them. There's Century 21s, there's Reals, there's EXPs, things like that. Those are brokerages. To have a brokerage, you have to have a broker, and a broker is a person who is licensed and designated to operate a brokerage. And then of course, as a realtor who wants to work and conduct business, you have to affiliate yourself with all of the above, or technically you're not supposed to be actually trading in real estate legally. Judicial sale, sales that are going through the court system. A property has gotten to a point where now the court has been appointed to dispose of the property. Judicial sales, I'll be totally transparent with you, in my opinion, are not easy processes because there's so much that's going on there. Like a lot of judicial sales are, you're writing offers in there that are condition free because those are the parameters that are set out on that. Everything is scratched out in the agreement that would suggest any sort of representations and warranties. If anything were to happen with the property after the fact, you have no legal recourse to go back. Foreclosures, that's so funny. They kind of go hand in hand because people kind of throw them under the same umbrella. The owner of the property is in arrears. And so because they're in arrears, a bank or a lending institution is now wanting to take over that property. And this process here, a little bit easier than judicial sales, because generally you're dealing with either the underwriter or you're dealing with the lender themselves. Typically with offers, you're allowed to have some conditions in there. You're not dealing with a judge directly who's making a decision. There's actually someone who's handling the file. So a little bit easier process dealing with foreclosures, but basically if you're getting into a foreclosure process, it's unfortunately you've been delinquent in payments. CMA, comparative market analysis. It's a fancy word for us compiling data to present to you to give you an opinion of value. Appraisals. Appraisal process is a lot like what we do when we do our market analysis, right? You take the subject property, you're comparing it to other properties that have sold, and it comes up with this valuation based on a lot of different factors. Size, lot size, bedrooms, bathrooms, age of the house, location, improvements, upgrades, things of that nature. So there's a lot of things that they go through from the appraisal process, but yeah, they're a different entity that's directly intertwined in what we do for real estate. Dower, this is not to be chauvinistic, but years ago, at that time, men were the working people, which means that they were buying the house, they were going to the bank, stuff like that. There came a point in time where the government actually looked at everybody that was involved in the house and going, how is everybody protected? And understanding if you're disposing of a real estate asset, does everybody know that that is actually being disposed of? So Dower is consent, which means if you're legally married and you have resided in the house for at least one night, the person who is not on title has a right to that property, which means if the person on title wants to dispose of the property, the other person has to acknowledge the fact that they are disposing the asset, which means that they have to actually sign the listing agreement that you understand that the property is being disposed of. When you get offers on those properties, that Dower person has to acknowledge that offer as well. Dower doesn't apply to every single province in our country. FSBO, another acronym for sale by owner. For sale by owner is essentially a homeowner that is wanting to represent, list, and sell their own property. A material latent defect. A material latent defect is something that is not discoverable through reasonable inspection of the property. These items have to be legally disclosed by individuals. Let's just say that every time it rains, you get a little bit of ground moisture that comes up in some area in the house. That would need to be disclosed. I mean, you can go months and months and months with no moisture where we're from. And so, at the time that someone might be buying and doing an inspection, something might not be detected. But if that homeowner knows that there is obviously something that happens during certain periods of time, that's a material latent defect. And if a homeowner is not willing to disclose that, and that becomes discoverable after the fact, there is legal recourse that a buyer can come back at that person. Mortgage pre-approval. Pre-approval is a number to tell you what you're able to obtain. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely finalized. There is a process that goes on. And we're done. We love hearing from you guys. Like us, follow us, Southern Alberta Homes team. Drop any comments in there. We will definitely get back to you. Or if there's something in particular that you guys want to know about, let us know about and we'll talk about it. Have yourself a great day. I'm Darren Gajelka with the Southern Alberta Homes team. Better way to real estate.